What is Docker? Docker is an infrastructure management tool just used for containerization purpose. Let us start with an example. You are working on a project and your stack is Flask, Python, MongoDB and RabbitMQ. Suppose your friend want to run your project, he need to manually install MongoDB, RabbitMQ, Flask and entire infrastructure based on your project. But with help of a Docker, he could just clone the entire infrastructure within seconds and run like yours. He or she doesn't need to set up manually. Now we can visit the docker.com. Here you can search for the containers such as Flask, Python, MongoDB and RabbitMQ. Here you have all of their containers as the base image. From the base image, you can develop your own infrastructure according to your project. Okay, now we can see what is meant by container. A container is an executable package of software. It's just run in an isolated environment. For example, if you take a MongoDB container and the MongoDB Inc. develop all the necessary packages environment into an image and pushed into the Docker Hub. We just clone the image into the system within few seconds and start using it, irrespective of the system. If you're using the Windows, Linux or any other OS, the procedure is same. It takes just few seconds to clone it. Usually, containers run in an isolated environment. With Docker, like magic, you can create your separate network among the containers and you can also create the volumes, mount, etc. From the base image, we could also develop our own images. Before the era of Dockers or containers, it's not just an easy process to clone the entire infrastructure just like that. The team need to manually do all the installations, configurations, environment setup again and again. Let us consider a company ABC Inc. The core team has developed a complex infrastructure. We assume 50 new members are need to work on the project. Some have Windows, Mac, Linux. They need to manually do all the installations, configurations, etc., which would even take few days to get started. But with Docker and containers, the whole thing is automated. If the core team write Docker file and set up all the necessary things at initially, the 50 new members no need to take care of infrastructure. Just they clone and start running it within few hours. Containers usually run in an isolated environment. We set up our infrastructure with the help of the Docker in Windows. Suppose if MongoDB container crashes unexpectedly, it does not affect the whole system. And the best part, if the volume is mounted already, we could retain the same state, just cloning the new container within few seconds. Generally, application will not have direct communication with the kernel. Application will have the communication with OS, then OS with kernel, kernel with hardware. But in Docker, application will have direct communication with the kernel. Also, the app in the container does not have any contact with the app in the host system. In production, if we set up a proper system architecture with Docker and span our web server as a container, if someone tries to gain access to our web server, they only have the container access, not the host access. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more videos.